Hello you guys, and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. My name is Sarah and I'm so thrilled that you're joining me today for an updated budget video. Each year for the past couple of years, I have showed you what our budget looks like, and we use real numbers, we keep it open and honest, and my hope with these videos is always to help inspire you to budget if you've never budgeted before, as well as show you an honest look of where our money goes and how we're able to reach our financial goals. And what's different with this budget compared to a couple of our budgets in the past is number one, this is my first year that I'll be self-employed. So obviously I no longer have my teaching salary and I'm budgeting more so with numbers I'm not necessarily sure about each month. As well as in our past budgeting video, we had a roommate and she is going to be moving out here in a couple weeks. So we will not have that money coming in. So we are not including that in the budget. And in the last videos, we were renting an apartment, but now we have purchased a condo. So it looks a little different there as well. And as I was trying to figure out how I was going to organize my budget, since there are some more moving parts that there normally haven't been, I came up with what I am calling the Hourglass Budget. I'm not sure if there's anything like it. I couldn't find this style of budgeting when I looked online, so I may have created it, but I also don't consume a ton of budgeting videos, so it may already be a thing and have a different name. But in any case, I want to tell you about it and show you how it works. Before we get into that, one quick little announcement I want to make. Obviously, Jake and I have returned home now. We were gone for about a month long on our trip, and I have uploaded a trip recap video, not on this main channel here, but on an additional channel I am starting. It's just a channel with my name, Sarah Satani. And with that, there are going to be 2 videos per month. There'll be one daily vlog type video to show you like day in the life of a minimalist, as well as one behind the scenes video to show you a little bit of some of the work I do on my company's behind the scenes, as well as a few bonus things such as that travel video. So I just wanted to let you know if you're interested in checking that channel out or the video, I've got the details in the description below for you. Let's get into the budgeting. Now, how does the Hourglass budgeting technique work? Basically, we have one guaranteed income and one income that is not guaranteed, that is mine. We're starting with Jake's income. That's like the top of the hourglass. That is the amount of money he is receiving. We prioritize all of our payments and bills in order of most important to least important, or required and not required. And with these deductions, it gradually decreases the amount of money that you have from that one income. And I have those all marked green since those are still surplus from that income. And then as you get further down the list, then you start getting into essentially negative numbers, and that's going to be the amount of money that I need to earn with my businesses to be able to cover those costs. And then you're ending with a larger number at the bottom, which kind of gives you that hourglass shape, starting with the income that you know you have, and then ending with the income that you need to finish covering those costs. Maybe it sounds a little confusing, but it's definitely easier to see with real numbers. Now, as with other financial videos, I do need to give a quick disclaimer. These are our actual numbers, and these are just the ways that we have decided to allocate our financial resources. Of course, as with most financial decisions, there are different pros and cons, and everyone's got their own set goals that they're trying to achieve. And maybe a certain goal doesn't necessarily reflect what is the absolute, like, quote unquote, best thing you can do with your money. But if it matters to you, then that is a priority. Let's begin first with the top of the hourglass, and that is Jake's monthly salary. Now, this is after taxes, but it is based upon the previous school year. In the US, teacher salaries do go up a little bit each year, but you don't necessarily know what your exact paycheck amount will be until the year begins, just with how taxes work with it. And this year I will be getting on Jake's health insurance because being self-employed, I will no longer be receiving health insurance, obviously, from where I used to work. So I'll be on his health insurance, which will lower his monthly salary, but we don't know exactly how much yet. So the current number we're working with is without the health insurance aspect and with the old amount, which is $2,677 per month. That's our top portion. That's how much we have to work with from the start. Now, let's break it down. Our most important expense at the moment is our mortgage, and our mortgage is about $1,500 per month. That breaks down to about $1,000 worth of principal plus interest that we're paying, and about $500 for property taxes and HOA fee. Real quick, just to answer a question before it comes up, in a lot of my other financial videos, people have wondered, why did I go with a condo that has an HOA fee instead of a standalone house? Because HOA fees can be a little bit expensive. I totally understand that perspective, but in the state of Illinois, where we live, we have the second highest property taxes in the entire United States. So in our situation, even though we are paying an HOA fee each month, it is still cheaper to live in a condo than a standalone house. There are actually quite a few standalone houses in our area that pay $10,000 per year in property taxes, and it's not even like a grand mansion, just like a regular house. There were houses we could afford the house, but we could not afford the property taxes year after year. So that is just a quick reason why we chose a condo. Yes, there is an HOA fee, but it was still cheaper for us in the big picture. We need to take the $1,500 off that $2,677, which means we're left with $1,177 after the mortgage. Then let's move on to utilities. The utilities that we have here are internet and phones, $108 a month. ComEd, which is like our electricity, as well as if there's any heating or air conditioning, I just lumped those numbers together. On average, it is about $75. Recently, it's been a little bit less, but that fluctuates a little bit depending on our heating and cooling needs. Gas for Jake's car ends up being about $100 a month, and insurance is about $51 a month, which is for one car and our condo. And that's $51. So when you add those up, we're looking at $334 of monthly costs. We're going to subtract that from the $1,177, and now we are left with still a surplus of $843. Next, that takes us to the food and miscellaneous purchases category. With this category, we have allocated a budget of $400. Most of that will be for food, but if there are miscellaneous purchases, such as if we need, like new shampoo or toothpaste or something like that, as well as more rarely if we were to actually purchase some sort of other good or item, that would come from that category. Now with this, could we do it cheaper than $400? Absolutely, and I know a lot of you may actually do that yourself, a lot cheaper than that. However, we find for the two of us that this is an amount that we're eating more affordably than we could be, but also we're still enjoying fun food indulgences here and there. And just because we could eat cheaper doesn't mean that's how we want to eat every day. So just wanted to throw that out there too. You can still have different things that you enjoy and bonus indulgences and not necessarily be as cheap as possible and still be able to meet your financial goals. After subtracting that $400, we are now left with a surplus of $443. That also ends the section of absolute essentials required to continue surviving in our current way of life. However, we have a lot of other financial goals that we like to hit. So now we're going to break those down. You're also going to see with these upcoming categories that now we are going to dip into the negatives, which means that guaranteed income is no longer, and whatever the difference is, that is what I need to make sure I earn from the online businesses to be able to cover those financial goals. So let's get into that. First up, we have our retirement contributions. Jake and I both currently have Roth IRA accounts, and we max those out every year, which ends up being about $1,000 a month, since you're allowed to contribute $6,000 each year. Now, I will be, for next year, transitioning into a self-employed IRA or type of retirement account, but at least for this year, I'll still be filling out this one. After we've contributed $1,000 towards our retirement each month, we are now at negative $557. So far, that tells me that I need to earn at least $557 from my businesses. The next layer are our investments, and we are currently allocating $1,100 a month towards our investments. This includes things such as index funds in the stock market. And after we subtract the $1,100, we are then currently at negative $1,657. Then I do have a couple monthly business expenses that I use. These are only the services that have a monthly cost. Most of the services that I'm using for business are either an annual subscription, because usually the annual subscription saves money, as well as a one-time cost. So maybe you pay for it once and then you don't pay for it anymore. So that's what most of them are, but the three that there's no annual cost for, $9 a month goes to Send Owl, and that's where I sell my cookbook, as well as I will be selling a couple other things that I'm working on. I also pay $17 a month for the Adobe Suite. Specifically, I use this for PDF work that I use with my teaching business and creating online lesson plans, but I also can use other materials within the Adobe Suite. I am currently in a monthly program called CEO Teacher, and that program, it is like an online course kind of a thing, although it's more so a coaching program as well, and that is $99 a month. Those three things added together are $125 a month, and so that brings us then to negative $1,782. For those other one-time cost items or the annual subscriptions, I have a separate business fund where I have already allocated some financial resources where that money comes from. Just because those one-time costs or the annual subscriptions tend to be a little bit more expensive, so I like having that money there that I can work with. After that part's done, we've got a couple bonus categories. Our goal is to pay off our house in 2 years. So with that in mind, we put in additional money towards what we call a house bonus. Now, when I was working my teaching job, we made sure to put an additional $1,000 towards principal every month, which has been able to help us dramatically reduce our interest. With the new setup, I don't know for sure if we'll still be able to afford $1,000 bonus towards principal. So we're starting out with $500 towards principal. And if the month goes really well, I'll add additional money in. In past financial videos, some have asked why our goal is to pay off our house so quickly when the interest rate for our house is lower than the interest rate we could earn in the stock market or with other investments. And I do acknowledge that to often be true, although we can't necessarily guarantee those rates. My main goal is to pay off our house so it's no longer something we have to be worrying about, as I do plan to be self-employed for a while. I want to be a stay-at-home mom, or I guess work-at-home mom for a while with kids, like maybe 10 years, and not having to pay a mortgage would be amazing for financial freedom, because all we'd be paying then is about $500, which is your property tax and HOA fee. So I do know that it might be better off for some to be contributing more towards their investments. But for us, that's kind of why we want to pay off our house so quickly, to have more of that financial freedom. And that is our only debt essentially right now. And I'd love to not owe anything to anyone. So that's $500 a month is the goal. Now I do have a chart to show how we want to increase it. So likely this fall, it's going to be $500 a month. We're hoping that it bumps back up to $750 per month in the spring, as well as then next fall get back up to the $1,000 per month. But of course, as extra money comes in, we will be choosing to allocate some of that towards the house bonus. And after we subtract that $500, now we are at negative $2,282. Finally, the last category that we have on here is the car fund. That has to do with both car repairs as well as saving up for a future car in case something happens to the one Jake is currently driving. With that in mind, we're currently putting $325 in the car fund each month, and that will put us at negative $2,607. The car fund situation is very similar to the house fund. We're trying to raise $10,000 total to have in the car fund. For a little context, Jake's car, it's a 2003 car with currently about 160,000 miles on it. It's running well. However, it is an older car, and there have been a couple expensive repairs we've had to do, and there is a chance that at some point, if it starts to kind of nickel and dime us and we have to do a lot of repairs, it may not be worth continuing with it and instead purchasing a different car. So we're ready. I don't want to do any car payments, car loan, that kind of thing. So that's why we want to have this built up for when the time comes, whether that's in 1 year or 5 years. The goal is for this fall to contribute $325 a month, in the spring to contribute $650 per month, the next fall to contribute $1,200 per month, to be able to get that by about 1 year from now, a little over a year from now. And we do already have money in that account. When we finish putting all this together, now I have a clear total about how much money that I need to make each month to cover all of these expenses and financial goals, which is $2,607. What I love about setting my budget up this way is I'm able to see the priorities, of course, what are the biggest needs, and it also helps me to see, well, how much do I need to earn to be able to make that? And I think this system could be helpful for you, perhaps if you find yourself in a situation where one person does have a flexible income, even if it's just your income and you want to kind of break down and prioritize the different purchases in your life to see, okay, these are my essentials, but then what do I have left to work with after the essentials? As far as kind of how I calculate my income, whatever my total business income is that I receive in a month, I will allocate 20% of that towards my taxes fund, which I keep in a high yield savings account. I love using high yield savings accounts to store all of these because they do pay significantly more interest. And people often ask for questions about which ones I recommend. The interest rates do change. Personally, we are using Discover. Currently, interest rates are over 2%, which is cool because that's much higher than what most bank accounts will pay. But definitely do the research. If you search high yield savings account or high yield savings account options, you're going to get a variety of possibilities. And there's definitely quite a range out there. Many have no minimums. It's kind of like a CD account, except without the bad parts. You don't have to lock your money in for an extended period of time. You don't have to have a high account minimum to start, and you get the interest. So I take 20% out, put it in the taxes fund. Then I'm going to see how much that business income will cover. Hopefully it covers everything, but if not, I have been contributing towards a work from home fund or a work from home emergency fund. So any extra that is not covered if I do have a slower month and don't meet this $2,600 goal, then I can tap into that work from home fund to make sure we're covering all of our goals. But let's say it was a good month and I don't have to worry about getting any money from the work from home fund. With whatever's left, I'm going to divide it into one of 5 places. It could be for a house bonus. It could be in the car fund. It could go in the work from home fund to continue bolstering that. It could go into our emergency fund, and then others can go in the business expenses. So just that money that's available for different account related things. So that's kind of how we have this all set up. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you've got any questions related to anything that I said, I'd love to help answer those for you. And I hope you feel that even if you have less money than you would like, that you can allocate it in positive ways that are going to help you. And I think minimalism is a big part of that. Obviously, we don't really have much money on here allocated towards spending on stuff, and that's because we really don't need it. And there's nothing that we need to go buy. And that's an amazing way that you can transition some of your finances from something that doesn't benefit you as much to some savings that will benefit you. If you'd like to check out some financial videos, you can do that here. You can subscribe to the channel up here. Or if you want to check out my new channel where I've got that travel video up, you can check it out right here. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.